Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
In big red letters, it says Alex, that's me. And in white letters, it says the Ramble, that's the program, and it goes until midnight tonight on the East Coast of the United States and all around the world. How you doing, Stephen Kravitz?
Hey, people. How are you?
Yeah, how you been? Things okay?
Yeah, I actually had a physical on Monday, and everything's fine.
Everything's fine. Oh,
yeah.
Boy. So how about you had a problem with what do you call it? Hep C.
Yeah, I get the blood work done next week.
Oh, okay. So you don't know.
I did the 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you wait 3 months to get a blood test to see if it's not detectable.
Oh, okay. That's
so that'll
cool.
happen on the 12th.
Yeah. Wow. Ain't medicine wonderful, huh?
Yeah.
You've been suffering with that for years.
Since around 87.
You said that you really weren't suffering with Hep C, though, that you didn't really feel it or the consequences of it.
Right. Only when I contracted it, my eyes turned yellow. Like it was kind of jaundice, you know what I mean, for a day. And that was it.
Yeah, you became a lizard.
Right.
Yeah.
For one day.
For one day.
And that was it.
Son of a bitch. Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's nice that we have a lot of things that will heal people now.
Right.
You know, when we say, oh, gee, medicine hasn't gone that far, I've friends with Hep C who no longer have it because, they took the pills.
Right.
There was another thing I was talking about the other day to somebody. I have a friend who has psoriasis, terrible case of psoriasis. Took this medicine that they gave him.
Right.
Went away.
Really?
Went away. It was over 90% of his body. And
wow.
When he took the shots, went away completely. And
really?
he hasn't gone back for any more shots. I mean, they said you have to keep going. But he hasn't gone back for more shots, and he's doing just fine. So, I mean, there are things that we're solving, right? I mean, hell, we solved COVID, didn't we? Sorta. Well, I mean, sorta. I mean, people are taking the shots, and the infection rate is going down. I mean,
that's right.
That's proof positive that it works.
Right. Absolutely. You've had both your shots, and I've had both my shots.
Right.
Now, did you read where a lot of people are like not going back for the second shot?
They're stupid.
Yeah.
They're stupid. I asked Bubbles if he had gotten his shot yet, and he hasn't. But his reply to me was, I got my shot, just got my polio shot. I'm a little late on that one, but I'll get around to the COVID. But I mean, this thing has been so ravaging to this country and to the world that people who don't get it are stupid. Stupid.
Well, I happen to agree with you.
Yeah, and they're disrespectful of me and you.
Right.
They don't care enough of us to make sure that they don't get it.
Right.
All right. To hell with them. To hell with them.
Right.
But, anyway, listen, I showed you this before we went on. Look at that.
Right. Punchline.
And your name is probably on the back of the shirt.
No, it is.
Yeah. I kept a lot of these. I have one that I really love, but it's falling apart. That does have my name on it. So.
Really?
Yeah. But
I don't think I have any of those punchline shirts.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, every time they did a new one, they did.
Yeah, you get it in the mail.
Yeah, well, I mean, they would give them to me because, I was a big shot.
Right. We all were.
We were all big shots. Remember when my quote is on my Facebook page is, "He used to be a big shot,"
Right.
which is from the movie The Roaring Twenties with Jimmy Cagney.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's lying there. He's been shot by what's his name? By Humphrey Bogart, and he's now dead in the arms of his girlfriend.
Right.
And this cop comes up to her and says, "Who is he?" She says, whatever his name is, and said, "What did he do?" And she looks up at him and goes, "He used to be a big shot." And I always, all those Warner Brothers films always ended with a great line like, "Is this the end of Rico?"
Right.
And things like that. And my favorite was he used to be a big shot. God, so that resonated with me, and so it's my quote on my Facebook page. He used to be a big shot.
Is that right?
Yeah. So as I'm dying on the steps of St. Patrick's Cathedral in the arms of my wife, she can say, "He used to be a big shot," But anyways,
I was a big shot for about a cup of coffee.
You were what?
I was a big shot about as long as it takes to have a cup of coffee.
Well, if you look back on it, if we look back on your career, it has been better than some.
Oh yeah, I have no complaints.
I guess I could complain because I got nothing now.
Right.
Except maybe a few hundred viewers every day to my show, and that's about it.
Right.
But the career I had was pretty damn good, and lasted longer than most. I mean, most people get in the radio business; they're in and out of it in 5 years.
Right.
Okay, mine lasted 60, something like that.
There you go.
And your comedy career lasted much longer than that, and you did movies.
Right. And TV.
So you
I did okay.
You did okay. I think what bothers us is that we're not doing okay now.
That's an issue.
Well, I mean, it's funny. There's something to be said for privilege.
Right.
Okay. And when you don't have that privilege any longer, you miss it.
Sure.
I miss being able to go on the air and gripe about something that bothers me, or a store I went to that I was treated crappy at, and then all of a sudden I get a call the next day going, "Is there anything we can do about it?"
Right.
I don't have that. I don't have that bully pulpit anymore.
Right.
That was enjoyable.
I'd like to be plugging a gig.
Yeah.
I would prefer to be plugging a gig right now.
You know what also gave me a great thrill was to make people I like allow people, at least in San Francisco, to become local stars.
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed. Yeah, but I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. What I didn't enjoy was not making people stars. In other words, there were people that were nice people, but I couldn't use them on the show. They weren't that good.
Right.
Or I didn't get their comedy. It didn't work well with me. It didn't work well on my show.
Right.
And there were quite a few people like that. People I actually liked, But it was always a thrill when I could take somebody like you and give you this pulpit where you could then go to a club owner and screw him out of more money.
Oh yeah.
And that
I was able to make a very decent living.
That was a nice power to have.
Yes.
And I enjoyed that, every inch of that,
Right.
But so anyway, we were talking a couple of weeks ago about your life, and I don't know that we completed it that much. We talked about.
We might have completed as much as I remember.
As much as you remember. But
some people have a lost weekend or a blackout.
Yeah.
I have a missing 2 decades.
Oh, I see. You don't remember anything that happened during the 2 decades.
No.
Is that true? I mean, are you just being funny?
I'm being facetious. I mean, I have spotty memory for about 5 years.
Okay. Well, I have spotty memory, but it's only because I'm getting old and I'm forgetting stuff. Like the other day, somebody said to me, "You were in. When did you get to New York?" And I had to think about it. I couldn't remember. I know now it was 1969.
Right.
But I was getting all my dates kind of wrong. Like, how long were you at WMCA? Well, I was there for 2 years. So I ended in 71 and went to WPLJ. But all those dates I kind of went blank on,
Right. No, I get you.
And then you go, well, gee, how can you go blank on something like that? 1969, how many years ago was that?
What was that?
Yeah, it's at least, 50? 40? What is it? 69. Okay, 79, 89, 99, 109. Yeah, it's over 50 years.
Right.
So I'm supposed to remember what happened to me 50 years ago and in what order?
I couldn't.
And you don't.
I couldn't judge you because I couldn't do it.
And you didn't have to. You didn't
Right.
have to. But I mean, so I forget stuff. I'm beginning to forget dates and things. Well, here I just had my dates all right, so
Right.
And then somebody writes me and goes, "Alex, you were giving me fuck you." I hate these people that are just nagging. Oh, well, you
Right.
can't remember when you were at WMCA? I remember when you were at WM. Good for you. Good for you.
Good for you.
Oh, is that anybody important, or is that like?
It's in the other room.
Yeah, but you know what it probably is? It's probably like a robocall, right?
Right. Probably a spam call.
Whatever happened to that being done away with? Remember when we signed up for a thing where you
Right. The do not call.
do not call list?
Right.
Well, apparently it's not working.
Well, I don't think it transferred over to cell phones.
Oh, is that what the problem was?
I don't know.
I thought it was for all phones. It was just a do not call list. Do not
Well,
call.
that's what I thought too, but it might have been landlines. It might have been.
No, I put my
into landlines.
I put my cell phone number in there. So
Are you sure?
Yeah, but you know what the problem is? They're not supposed to call. It's against the law. But these calls aren't coming from the United States.
Right.
They're coming from, like, I don't know, the Ukraine or something, from Rudy Giuliani. I don't get it.
No, and I get probably 10 spam calls a day.
I get maybe 3 or 4.
Really?
Yeah, and some days I don't get any, but but they're annoying. And I'll tell you why they're annoying. Okay, at my age especially, I have a bunch of doctors for various things.
Right.
Right? And maybe one of them wants to call me and tell me that I'm dying of cancer. Okay?
Something happy.
But I don't know whether this is my "you've got cancer" call or somebody going, is your car still in warranty?
Right.
Sometimes I like to get those guys on the line. I go, press 1 if your car isn't in warranty. I press 1. And I get a guy, and he goes, "Well, what kind of car do you have?" I said, "I haven't owned a car in 10 years."
Right.
And he
Take
goes,
me off your list.
and you don't even get a, "Well, we're sorry we bothered you." We don't get
Right.
that. They just
Click.
hang up. Boom.
Click.
Yeah. One time I told a guy, "Fuck you," and he said, "Fuck your mother."
Really?
And I'm going, is this the way this company is doing business? That the reply to something like that isn't, "Well, I'm sorry you're upset, sir."
Right,
Okay.
right.
Instead, it's, "Well, fuck your mother," and then they hang up. So.
Well, they're probably a miserable person who has a miserable job.
Probably easily.
Right?
Yeah. So when we were talking about your life, I think we wound up in Paris, didn't we? Somehow.
Somehow I spent 2 years in Paris.
That must have been wonderful. Did you love that?
I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. And then I moved from Paris to San Francisco and started doing stand-up.
Well, by the way, by living in Paris, I'm being facetious here. How do you feel about not living in the democracy?
Didn't bother me at all.
Here's the thing. I got this guy that goes, "This is the best country in the world. This is the freest country in the." I said, "Have you been to France?
Right.
You know, have you been to England? Have you been to Denmark, Sweden?
Right.
You know,
Right.
I have Spain, Italy. Come on. What do you mean? You know,
Right.
they don't have this highfalutin attitude about themselves. They just do it.
Right. Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
oh,
Like
this
I
is-
said, it made no difference to me.
And they give me this crap about, well, you know what you have here? Freedom of speech. And I go, freedom of speech. It's funny, there's a lot of stuff I was told I couldn't say on the radio.
Imagine that.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff that if I said it on radio, I would be out of a job and could wind up in jail because I said it. So freedom of speech, not so much. More freedom of speech if you do a show in England. You can
Right.
use any language you want to.
Right.
You know, it's not a society in which there. You know, I often thought of this science fiction movie in which somebody winds up in this other land, in which you can't say the word.
Which
You know.
word? The word?
Well, it doesn't matter. But I mean, here in whatever, you can't say the word. Well, you can't say the word here on radio. You can't say fuck.
Right.
Otherwise,
Right.
you'll never work again.
Right.
Just for saying fuck. I'm walking
right.
down the street. There's one guy talking to another guy as he's walking by going, well, what the fuck? I don't know what the fuck. Fuck.
Right.
fuck.
Right.
And I'm going,
right,
and
right.
I can't say that on radio.
Or if you say it during stand-up, you're considered a blue comic, even though your material may not be below the waist.
You know, the thing I always what bothered me about the use of four-letter words in comedy is not when it was used for an effective purpose,
Right.
but when it was used as the punchline to a joke. It should never be a punchline.
No.
The joke should be funnier than the word. Okay?
Oh yeah.
You know.
For fucking idiot. You don't want to just end with idiots that are fucked.
Right. But all I'm saying is that so I got into this argument with a friend of mine who was on the show last night that you know, this is the freest country in the world. I mean, you've been to France. Was it free? I think so.
Right.
You know, how about?
Very much so.
I mean, maybe you're trying to compare us to Russia or North Korea,
Right.
but please, we're not that. But we're certainly not as good as England, France, Spain when it comes to
Denmark.
freedoms, huh?
Denmark.
Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Greenland. I mean, I could name dozens and dozens of countries that are free, you know? And so we make a big deal about, oh, we're a democracy. Fuck you. We're democracy only in words only.
Sure.
If this were truly a democracy, we wouldn't be having all this cancel culture going on and people being allowed to get away with it.
Right.
Where some
right.
guy said something wrong 20 years ago to a woman. I mean, hell, if I had to be held to account for the way in which I maybe treated a woman 20 years ago, by those standards, I might be in a little bit of trouble. I mean, I was always very much a gentleman. I don't think I was ever could be accused of that. But still, you're trying to apply to standards today's standards, to something somebody did 20 years ago when there was a different set of standards. And as long as he's living by the new standards now, get off his case.
Right. You
know,
right.
But there was this woman, I think she was a Teen Vogue, and she got let go because when she was a teenager, she tweeted something wrong.
Really?
Yeah. Well, she's an adult now, and she knows better.
Right.
You know. So, I mean, when you talk about a free country, freedom starts with the individuals. And if you're starting to do this cancel culture thing, you're not living up to a democracy.
No.
Right?
Right.
So
we have freedom of speech in certain parameters.
Yeah.
The old example is you can't go into a movie theater and yell fire.
Right. Right.
Right?
Right. But they say you can't yell fire in a crowded theater, but I
Right.
always wondered why. Because most people wouldn't pay attention to you.
No.
You know,
But it could cause a stampede. It could cause a stampede and people could get killed.
but the trouble is we use that as a caveat,
Right.
right? We use that as a caveat about, well, you know, there's freedom, but, you know, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. Well, you should be able to yell fire in a crowded theater, but you should have to live with the consequences of that. Okay?
Right. Just like Alex, if you said fuck on the radio,
Yeah.
you'd have to live with the consequences of it.
I used to use a term on the radio years ago when I was the hippie guru here in New York radio, where I used to say that really democracy in this country is just an illusion.
Yeah.
You know, it's an ideal. It's something we'd like to think we live up to, but we really
Right.
don't live up to it.
No.
So, you know, I've always been bothered by that we don't really live up to it. We like to think we're a democracy. We like to
Right.
think we're freer than we are. And yet, if we go back into our past, we see any number of situations where that's purely not true. Go back to the 50s and the McCarthy era.
Sure.
And the House Un-American Activity Subcommittee on Show Business, where
Right.
people's careers were ruined because 20 years earlier they had gone to a meeting of the Communist Party, which was the in thing to do in those days,
Right.
you know. So, I mean, did you ever see the movie The Front? Woody
Yes.
Allen? Do you know most of the people involved in that film were all blacklisted?
Yes.
Zero Mostel was blacklisted, and the actress that was in it was a Karen Black. I'm trying to think of who it was. That was no, it wasn't Karen Black. Somebody else. But they were all blacklisted. The writers were blacklisted, and so on.
Right.
And they made this movie as a way of getting even.
Right.
you know.
Right.
But if people have a chance and you get to see it, it's not a Woody Allen movie. It stars Woody Allen, however.
Right.
And it's about a period in history that I'm very aware of, you know,
Right.
that I went through and that I saw people being ruined by. And so if we truly were a democracy, that would have never happened. All right? A guy like Joe McCarthy would have never been allowed to exist. House Un-American Activity Subcommittee never would have been allowed to get together and do what they did. Because
Right.
we're a democracy. We don't do that in a democracy.
Right.
Right? But they did.
Oh, you're right.
They did.
I mean, those were hanging trials.
Oh, they were Salem witch trials. There was no question
Right.
about it. No
Right.
question about
Right.
it. So, you know, I mean, I would not, probably if I were around then in show business, I wouldn't have lasted. I would have been up in front of that committee. Instead, I went to one of those committee meetings when I was a kid. I was 14. I got into the room
Really?
and I watched it. And I watched literally a guy that I used to listen to every morning on radio get ruined by just being asked a simple question. Are you now or have you ever been?
A member of the Communist
yeah.
Party.
And the next day I turn on my radio. He isn't there anymore.
No.
You know, and
No.
that's horrible. That was just horrible. That does not happen in democracy. I'm sorry. So we live in an illusionary democracy. We
Right.
think better of ourselves than we are.
Right. And we expect everybody else, all the other democracies to match ours.
Oh yeah. You
You know, we want these other countries to be a democratic
But they
society,
say-
but they want to follow our mold.
They say we're the freest country in the world. Have you been to England? Have you been to France? Have you been
Right.
to Spain? Have you been to Italy? Have you been to
Hell, have you been even just to Canada?
Canada? Yes. Good example. Go next door. Okay?
Right.
And see if our, I mean, when you look at what happens on a daily basis in the news and you call this a democracy, you're out of your fucking mind. You know?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
You know, whatever. Anyway, hey, listen, we're slowly running out of time here.
Really? I wish I had a gig to.
I was going to say, do you have any gigs to plug?
Right. Well.
Well,
No.
you'll be playing at the Imaginary Punchline.
Right.
You know.
People know about the Punchline. Punchline in San Francisco.
By the way, we got good news today, though. The Broadway's opening up. What is it? September 21st, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's opening up. So
I saw that on the news.
so some good people will be able to work. Real talented people will be able to work again.
Yeah, no kidding.
Anyway, you want to do this again next week?
Yeah.
I love doing it. Stay where you are, and we'll set the time up and all of that.
All right.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's Stephen Kravitz. Bye, Steve.
Bye, folks.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Okay, all right. That's Stephen, and I love. I really enjoy him. He's so smart. I get into good discussions with him and everything. It's really cool. It's so cool. But I mean, it's it happens. We like talking with him. That's all. Let me see here. I'm trying to do something here, but I can't do it. Oh well, can't do it. Okay. Anyway, what the hell? Hello, how are you? What's happening with your life? Okay. We're going to be doing a little show here now. We're going to go to our citizen panel and talk with them and see what the hell's up as they join our little party, our little happy fizzies party here. Let me see here. I guess I need to make this into a gallery. Okay, and then I go boom, and there they are. Okay, there's Jeff, and there's Alan, and there's Trucker Steve, and there's Charlie, and there's me. Hi, everybody. How are you?
Hi.
How you all doing?
I love when you talk to Stephen Kravitz. I don't know him.
Yeah.
I know he was a comedian because I did a Wikipedia search on him one time.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you know that he always agrees with you. Right is his favorite word. I counted today. 922 times he said right in the half hour that he was on.
It's not that he's agreeing with me.
We all do that. We all say, when you're telling somebody a story, no, I don't know. I think it's funny.
Well, no.
You're right.
Yeah, there are terms that I can't remember what they call them. They're crutch words. Mm-hmm. And what they are is they're words you use when you have nothing to say. So it's something, and what you're doing is you're pausing because you're trying to think of the next thing you're going to say, and so that's your kind of your punctuation. He doesn't agree with me. He just wants me to know that he's heard what I had to say.
I get it. He's an interesting guy.
He really is. He's fascinating. I think the world.
I have a go fuck your mother story. So this
is a really nice way to begin the show tonight. I'm having a nice fuck your mother story. Okay.
You want me to tell it?
Because you're referring.
Well, it's almost Mother's Day.
You're referring to last night when I said that one of these callers called me to try and sell me something, and I went, well, no, I don't want to get anything from you because you're a real jerk for doing this. And then he says to me, well, fuck your mother. I'm going, oh, you're really trying to sell something here?
Yeah, you just told that to Stephen Kravitz.
Oh, did I tell it to Stephen Kravitz? Okay.
Yeah. The first thing to go is the memory.
Well, no. Hey, I recorded that at 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Oh, I don't know.
So if I had just said it and been interviewing him right now.
Oh, okay. You look live to me.
I try to wear the same clothing I was wearing on the interview, so you won't know that's what I did. But thank you for shaming me, so I had to admit it that was recorded earlier.
It looked live to me. I didn't know that you pre-recorded it.
Yeah, all those interviews are pre-recorded.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That way I can go watch television and do something else while they're on and not have to talk to you.
There you go. So this kid used to tell everybody to go get fucked in high school. Yeah. And him and his brother were bullies. They'd go around, punch people, all kinds of stuff. I got hit several times. Mm-hmm. And things came back to bite him. And while I was a police officer 5 years later, him and his brother were selling drugs, and I had my foot on his head at one point. So, not on his neck, just his head.
His head.
Just holding him in one place for a few minutes, for a few seconds.
Did he try to use your friend's friendship with you to get out of it?
Absolutely.
Did he really?
We weren't friends.
Well, no, he said he bullied you. What kind of friend bullies you?
Yeah, I guess that's true. So he wasn't a friend, but we'll stick the first names. His name was Kyle, and I said, I remember you, Kyle. Do you remember me? And he says, no, but I got a footprint on the side of my face. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I said, we went to high school together. And he's like, oh, now I remember you.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, you bully everybody and then you get a footprint on
That's
your face.
interesting because usually the bullies became cops. At least that was my experience.
Sorry. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Hey, folks, we could use some more callers here. I don't do this as a hobby. Well, actually, I do. But
yeah, where is everybody?
I don't know. I'm giving up on this whole process. I really am. It's not worth my time.
When is sure it is. What we pay you? When is Mr. Midnight gonna get on Zoom? It was supposed to be this week. Well, this week's half over.
How do I put this? I think it'll happen sometime.
Okay.
But I don't want to be around when he tries.
Okay.
He said he went out and bought a book called Zoom for Dummies.
Yeah.
And I said to him, is there a book called Zoom for Dummies? I mean, it is so simple to use. Hello there, Kathleen. It's so easy to use that, you got to be a real dummy if you got to buy Zoom for Dummies.
You could just go on YouTube and type in how to use Zoom.
Yeah. Right. You actually, anything you want to know how to use, go to YouTube.
Yeah.
And just go on, like we've got Roku or Apple TV. Just go there. And like today, I was waking up. Was it yesterday or today? I woke up and they were drilling and hammering on the bricks. Okay, they're pointing the building. Now I don't know what pointing is. I've just been told they're pointing the building, which I assume has something to do with drilling and hitting with a hammer. So I went online to YouTube and I said, pointing a building, and up come all these videos of how you point a building. And I watched how they do it. And so now I know what all that noise is about and everything.
So the way you get rid of them is they usually put a bolt in the wall and then run the rope so they don't fall 40 stories or 30 stories. I know you're in a tall building. What you do is open the window and take your knife out and cut the rope.
No.
They'll stop drilling for a while.
That's not what they're doing. What they're doing is they drill to get rid of the stuff that's between the bricks, and then they put in new putty, they put in new cement or whatever it is. Mortar or whatever, and make sure those bricks don't fall out, because after years and years of not pointing the building, the bricks could fall out. In fact, this whole building could fall down.
Now I got to go look something up. Pointing. Why don't you just tell us?
Just pointing. Pointing. Look up pointing, and it'll show you. There are videos on how to point.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was like when my water heater went out. I went onto YouTube and I looked. I said, "Oh, son of a bitch! It's the thermocoupler." So I went to Home Depot. $14 later, I installed it, ran into the house, and high-fived my son, and it said, "Who's your daddy, bitch?" He high-fived me
as the
back.
water heater explodes.
No, come on.
No, not with her. It's not going to explode.
Right on.
No. It was like when my AC went out. I said, okay, well, if it's not the fuses, it's either the run capacitor, the start capacitor, the thermistor. $11 later, the thermistor. I installed it, ran into the house, and high-fived my son, and once again said, "Who's your daddy, bitch?"
Now, if
What
you
is
don't
it?
know what a thermistor is and you don't know how to put it in, you just go onto YouTube and there's got to be a video saying how to put in a thermistor.
Bada
So-
bing, bada boom.
There is
So
a
Mr. Stein probably knows this, but what is a thermistor?
That's a good question.
Oh, come on, Mr. Electrical
No, come on.
Engineer.
It's a thermodynamic
well. Wait a minute.
electronic
Does Charlie know?
device.
Do you know, Charlie, what a thermistor is?
Not really. I would Google it when
Well,
we get done.
a thermostat regulates, figures out how cold things is, and adjusts things. So a thermistor is a kind of lobster.
No.
I've put in thermostats. I've done that. I've had to replace a thermostat in my house.
Well, then what's a thermistor?
That's easy too.
Yeah,
So
I never had to encounter a thermistor to do it.
Right, a thermistor is a device that as it heats and cools, it changes the resistance.
Okay.
Well, it's
That was
what's
all part of
inside
the.
It's what's inside of a thermostat.
Yeah.
And now, did you go on YouTube to figure out how to put in the thermistor, or was it just logical? Or did you just look it up online?
No, it was logical. You know, I went and I looked and I said, okay, well, that's a thermistor. So I took it apart and I actually took out the fan motor too because I just wanted to make sure. So I took it to this great place in Stockton
Home
and it
Depot.
had every type of capacitor, starter, everything.
Can I tell
And
you
it had
how
a cat.
you know how I fix an air conditioner?
How?
I go
Call
out.
the
I go out.
Bam, bam.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I go out and buy a new one.
Yeah.
No, no, no.
Oh no! If it goes bad on me eventually, I figure I've had it long enough. I need a new one that isn't going to go bad on me.
No, my thermistor was probably 20 years old. $11 later, I fixed it and it fired
Well,
up.
aren't we special?
Special ed, thank you.
I think I'll call you when my air conditioner fails.
Well, there's
again.
this.
I will
I
fly
mentioned
on
this, I
out.
think, a couple of weeks ago. There's a show called Grand Design on British television where people build their own homes and build them from the ground up. And some people choose to bring people in to do the work and to do the architecture, but they know what they want. And other people do it themselves. And this one guy built his entire house off of watching YouTube. He
Wow.
needed to know
Nice.
how to put cement down. He looked
Yep.
up, he did the whole thing using YouTube.
Well, we didn't have
Nice.
YouTube when I built my straw bale house.
A straw bale?
Yeah.
Now that's a fire waiting to happen.
No, it's not. You could pour gasoline on a straw bale, it won't burn.
Yep.
Really?
Just surface will burn, and then that's it. It's packed so tight that no oxygen can get to it, so it doesn't burn.
I've
It's
seen,
less of a fire resistance than your regular house.
on Grand Design there are people who've done that for walls.
Yeah,
And it's
and
compressed.
it's incredible insulation. It could be 95 degrees outside, and it would be 75 inside the straw bale house.
So
Nice.
you did a straw bale house
Yep, I did the electrical wiring, I did the plumbing, I did everything myself.
from the ground up.
Sweet.
From the ground up, we had telephone poles to put in the ground, and the
Hmm.
house was built on those poles.
Well, have I introduced you to Kathleen? Maybe she can help you build your next house. Or if she can't help you build your next house, she knows how to fix the air conditioner.
Yes.
And I've
Oh,
done that. I've
yes.
fixed air conditioner.
Yes, Ray.
My best friend from high school and college, I just talked to him. He just finished building a house, watching YouTube on some property he bought in Idaho.
See? See?
Yep. And he learned how to hire subcontractors. He learned how to put in air conditioning. He did everything just from watching YouTube.
Do you know what I haven't been able to find on YouTube? I found out when I was using Skype how to use Skype and put all your pictures on Skype on the show. Okay, there's a program you use that some friends of mine made up that does that. So I learned how to do that. But then all of a sudden here comes Zoom, and I can't figure out how to get the Zoom picture onto the into this thing we call OBS, which is Open Broadcast System, and it's what does all the switching. And I've yet to be able to find a good explanation of how to do it simply.
Wow.
You know, there is no simple way. I do it in a way that's kind of clumsy because you see here, look, folks, see that if I don't want to move my my cursor in there, otherwise it's in the picture. But this is the best way I found to do it, and it works okay. If I do it another way that the cursor doesn't come up, we start getting lag and going out of sync. So at least I found out to do this to keep it in sync, but there's still no simpler way. It was very hard to find something to tell me how to do it. I worked on it.
You know what's funny is that my son's godfather came out and visited us, and so he is from Mexico, and he is most likely ex-Guadalajara cartel. So when he was here, you know, I'm going back and forth with some broad about the whole Adam Toledo thing. So he's sitting next to me and he's like, what the fuck's going on? I said, Mira, look. And he goes, who is this guy? And I go, I like this guy. I have no issues with him. He said, ¿Qué es ella? Who is she? And I go, fuck, I don't know, but she's trying to compel my speech and all kinds of shit. And he goes, watch this. And he goes, you need to tell your friends about this. He goes out to his truck, comes back, sets up this little satellite dish. He connects this thing, to my computer, and it sucks my whole Facebook over. And he goes, you see her? Mira. That's where she lives. He goes, hey, 10 minutos, I can have my crew at her house. And I was like, dude,
no.
Seriously. And he goes, listen, you know, he got out of the game once, you know, Guadalajara cartel, once the Jalisco New Generation cartel took over, he took it, and he has triplets. They're all in college, out of Mexico, family out of Mexico, everybody out of Mexico. He splits his time between this country and Switzerland. And so when he was here, he said, hey, he said, are there any countries you like? And I go, shit, you know, I kind of like Norway and Switzerland. He goes, you want to go? And I said, well, what? And he goes, you and my godson, get your passports. You let me know. Whatever casa you want.
Mi casa is su casa.
Oh my God. But you know what scared me was the fact that he could suck this information over, and his, whatever he was using was about 2 inches thick. And he said, listen, you need to let the Americans know that the cartels, they are chomping at the bit for the police departments to be defunded. He said, who do you think controls all of Chicago, all of Minneapolis, all of New York? He said, it's the cartels. And all they do is they're the ones that are underneath the covers, but they get the gangs involved. And I told him, you know, sometimes you scare me. And he said, no.
You know something? I really don't want you telling this story because it is going to justify every Trumpoid out there who's listening to this program who thinks maybe Trump was right.
Well, you know, no, actually, 90% of the people coming over from the border, I mean, if my son and I were living in Mexico or Guatemala or El Salvador or Colombia, oh yeah, I would be running for the border as well.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, I only see one problem with this guy sending his boys after your friend. He's using your computer. Guess what IP address?
No, he did not use my computer.
He was using a satellite
He sucked
dish.
all the information over to his, and he just said, look.
Oh, I get it.
It only takes 10 minutes for these MFers
to
go after people. You need to let your people know this is not a joke.
Let me ask you a question. In the background, is that the sun going down, or is that some light you've got pointed at the window?
Well, it might be, you know, it might be the reflection of my.
Yeah, I think that
yeah,
is.
yeah. Okay.
It looked like the moon. I mean,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
you gotta leave that on. It makes you look not so
keep
red.
that on. Keep that on. It makes you look better.
Yeah.
I'm just pissed off all the time.
Well, no. Anyway, so
Much better.
Ray, so you've used YouTube to learn how to do stuff, right?
Yeah, tons of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what?
hmm
Like,
Okay, my washing machine stopped working,
mm-hmm.
and there is unbelievable exact stuff on there how to fix washing machines.
Yep.
It was going to cost me like $400 to get it fixed, and screw it, because the part was $6. And so
the part is always $6. Look, the part is always $6.
Yeah. So
It's
I
just
found
that,
the video.
well, like I had a guy fixing our washing machine. It should have come to the $9 thing he had to replace, but unfortunately he had to remove a whole bunch of stuff, and $900 later, right?
Yeah.
Always how it goes.
Yeah,
Now,
and
dryers are a different story. Dryers are
Yes.
hard.
really,
No.
was my dryer?
Machine, piece of cake.
No, in this case, it was a washing machine, and the agitator, which I know what an
Yeah.
agitator is because I am one. It had some screws that were down on it, but the thing was old enough that they were rusted, and he couldn't get the screws undone, and that took him about
okay, yeah.
2 weeks to get that done, and then he had to
Yeah.
hack the agitator apart, so he had to buy a new agitator. All he had to do had to get to a bearing on the bottom of the thing where a seal that was leaking water.
Yep.
So
Anything having to do with water is going to be far worse than having to do
Yeah.
with something that is dry.
but he said he said this, and it was the reason we had him do it was he said this is a perfectly great washing machine. They're very simple. He said they're the best they ever made. Yes, you can replace it, but you're going to replace it with something that isn't as good, even if it's the same model. Okay? He said, I suggested if you fix this thing, you got another good 10 years out of it. So we went ahead with that rather than buying a new one for like $1,500, $1,600.
Yeah, it's the quality of the parts. They all work the same. The thing is, like having done washers and dryers, I can tell you dryers are way harder because it's all electrical stuff. And
In my
Man,
case,
that
it's
is hard.
in my case, it's gas.
oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, that might be easier. The electrical ones are a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
They're
I
hard to
replaced
fix.
the heating element in my electrical
By the way,
dryer and shit.
thanks
it
for-
was like $12.
Yeah.
Folks, in case you just tuned in, thanks for joining us here on Al's Fix-It Shop.
Al's not even talking.
Listen,
Yeah, and I've done the water heater heating element. I've replaced that several times.
It's
I-
The
easy.
heating element's fine.
I replaced the
Yeah,
ice.
it's in-
I replaced the ice maker in my refrigerator.
Nice.
Yeah, I did that. And then the water stopped pumping into the thing, so now I still have a really good ice machine, but no way to
Now you
make
need a
ice
new
out of
pump.
it. So.
You need a new pump now. Why don't you replace that?
Well, it's something I don't know. I just don't. I don't care. Okay, I just keep everything cold, and I don't need ice.
So your dryer runs on it's gas heated, is what you're trying
Yes,
to
it's
say.
a gas
But
dryer.
it still has electrical in it to run the motor and stuff.
Oh
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it basically it's not electric heat. Okay.
The problem I found with dryers is that it's hard to figure out what the problem is. Like washing.
Well, the
machines-
problem is it won't dry.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's
right,
a pretty
right.
simple
But there's
thing.
not a lot of moving. There's all these parts that don't move because, and you can't figure out which thing it is unless you're really.
Well, all this
Unless the
thing,
element
all
you can
mine
find.
has to do is tumble and turn on the heat, on the gas, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Most of the time with an electric dryer, it is the heating element.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Brian
the
has
last
just
one I had, it wasn't.
Brian
It was
has
a bunch of
just
other
joined
stuff.
us, and he's probably wondering what show he's fucking watching.
Oh, shit. So Ray, you live across the bay from me, right?
Where do you live?
Fremont.
Yeah, I live in just across. Yeah, Fremont's
Next
huge.
time
I
you have
live
a
in Palo
problem,
Alto.
next time you have a problem with your dryer, let me come over there.
Yes.
Okay.
Our
Gee,
dryers are very simple. Washers
I
are
should have
simple.
probably,
Super
I
simple.
I just had an
probably,
easier time with the washer.
when I had problems with the washing machine, I should have called you, had paid for you to come out, fly out, and go back,
Absolutely.
and I probably would have gotten away cheaper.
Probably.
sure.
You know.
I would have got you a free agitator too.
What I don't understand is when they make these things, like there's the seal, and it got rotted away, you know, and so the water started leaking out of that, and all it was like an $8 washer. Why do they make it so difficult to put in? Why can't they just put it? Oh, hey, just pop it right in. There it goes.
Engineers are designing it. They don't care.
They don't care.
Wait a minute. You
They
paid
don't care.
$8 for your washer?
No, I'm
Engineers build this stuff. They don't
no,
care
I'm
about
s-
how
For the
things-
element that was broken.
I'm saying the element that was broken was only if you went online, it was only $8.
Oh, the part was called a washer.
But to
I
get to
it.
that part, you had to remove the agitator, you had to remove something else, and you had to remove something else.
It was like 10 hours of labor.
It was like 5 hours worth of labor. And then
Engineers
You know
don't
what? You have to be like, listen here, motherfucker. I'm going to do this shit, whether you like it or not.
Listen,
I don't care how many hours it takes.
this was a big strapping guy. I'm not going to call him a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Okay? I'll leave that to you. Okay?
Engineers don't care. I fight with those guys all the time when I was in management because they would design the stuff, and then for the ME techs to get in there to do the maintenance,
Yeah.
they had to pull half of the machine apart just to get to the area.
Well, they don't.
Yeah, that's right. Call us motherfuckers. We'll come in and do that
There you
shit.
go with that motherfucker thing again. You know, that's fine.
Adrian's not coming
Mother,
out.
I mean that in a nice way.
motherfucker,
Okay.
motherfucker is fine if it happens to be somebody on the phone trying to sell you something. But outside of that, you know, when they can get within a fist length of you, motherfucker's not a good term to use.
Yes, it is.
Everybody
If you're
drinking?
in operations and you can fix it, hell yes.
Yeah. Well, what was it that I tried to fix? It was also one of those things that became. It was more expensive, more trouble than it was worth, and you go, why didn't they just do it the simple way? And I'm trying to
Your
remember what it was.
garbage
It was some,
disposal.
It was a
Right.
microphone.
no, it was something. No,
Yeah.
no, it was something recently that I did that.
Your USB switch died.
Computer.
No, it's not that. There was something where I had to do something quite like the refrigerator, where again to replace it was more difficult than the actual problem. I mean, it was just a very simple part to replace, but it was in an awkward place to get to. You know,
Man.
they don't build these things saying, hey, you know, this could break down. Let's make sure it's easy for them to repair it.
They
That's
don't
for
care.
sure.
Oh, no. They don't.
They don't care.
Yes, Jeff.
Most of the products that I developed
Mhm.
were all disposable, which means they were not designed to be repaired. Use them and throw them away.
Yeah.
Take
Including
apart
the
a,
patient?
What were you gonna say, Brian?
take apart a 1934 Cadillac. Those cars are not made to take apart. They built them one
That's a
time.
different world.
But I'll tell you what
They
I'll
put
tell
together
you
one time to last, and then you throw it away.
I'll tell you what Schmoody restored, a Volkswagen,
Yep.
and those things you could fix those with a bobby pin.
But you know what? I could not. I remember I made up. My brother was laughing so hard because I made up cuss words as I'm sitting where the gas tank should be, all 6 foot of me crouched down with a mag light in my mouth, rewiring the whole thing and cussing, saying, "How did these German motherfuckers with their big ass hands do all this shit,
Yeah,
let alone
now,
fit
did you
in
did
these
you
things?"
did you restore that thing yourself? I mean, you had to send a lot of it out.
I restored it myself. The only thing that I had professionally done was I had new pans put in because I'm 6 feet tall, which meant that the seats rested against the back seat because my legs are 36 inches long. Other than that, I threw in the engine. It was
By
a
the way, them some
1641
long legs. I've seen them up close.
Remember we'd go to
Yeah, but you
remember?
know, her husband, before
We'd
he
go to the
married-
mall.
Yeah.
We'd go to the mall, and Alex, after about 15 minutes, would start giggling. And I'm like, you know, what are you giggling at? And he goes, "Oh my God, Kathleen, they look at you, they look down at your feet and realize, holy shit, she's wearing flip-flops." And then they'd go right back up, which meant, oh my God, she's as tall as she is.
Were
It
you
wasn't
tall?
like I
Wait,
was
wait,
wearing
were you
heels.
taller than me?
No, I mean,
I think we were
Alex,
about the same height. We were about the same height.
well, no, you were 6'1".
Yeah,
I was 6 foot.
yeah.
You sure it isn't the guys in the mall that watch you put that mag light in your mouth and they're going, "Wow, I gotta marry this woman."
Well, I was going.
Holy shit.
I was going to make that joke, but I decided against it.
Such a
Okay.
gentleman.
Yeah, because I'm a
Thank you.
gentleman.
No problem. I'm not.
And you're a free monster.
That's right.
So am I.
Right on.
Fremont. And you know what was made to break down? This. My iPhone. It does, my
That's not an
facial
iPhone.
recognition. My facial recognition doesn't work anymore.
They're all, Ray, that is not you.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, you know.
Wow.
Hey, did anybody see that picture of Biden and the
Carter's?
yeah.
Oh yeah, that looked like a freak show somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, like the
They look
midget,
like
the
marionettes.
midgets, and the tall guy. You know.
Yeah.
Hey, look, we're the Carters. We're tiny.
That was sad.
No, really. I mean, I think she shrunk. I'm sure she shrunk.
And their furniture.
She was just a weird ant. It was a
This is the
a
perspective.
weird lens, you know.
Yeah, and didn't Biden get some heat from the public for not wearing masks around them?
Oh, fuck Biden.
You know, I mean, what is that?
Well, that mag light
There
probably
they are.
would be a good start. It's the right color. Oh no, sorry. Joking.
Well, I'm going to fight for the dignity of this woman, which is more than she do for herself. Yeah.
Something short out.
The picture looks fake.
What? It does, doesn't it? It's a strange
Yeah.
picture.
Very
It's a wide
bizarre.
We're
Oh,
talking, in
yeah.
case people haven't listened to what we're talking about. Let me see here. Carter.
I think he was close to the camera, and and the camera was not far back enough. They were using like a wider angle lens. It makes her look
Yeah.
like
Some
kind
illusion
of like
It was
thing.
warped.
it was a perspective issue.
Yeah, they should have used a zoom and moved back.
Well, let me see here. Ah, here we go. Here's the picture. Let me see here. Here, folks, just so you know what we're talking about, let me just go here. Computer. There we go. And I will do this here. Okay, there we go. Wait a minute. Transition. There we go. Look at that.
Oh yeah, God, that's great. I still see a picture.
Look
of
at how
one guy.
small. Look at how small she looks. That's Rosalind.
He's a munchkin.
And then look how short the top of his body is and how long his legs are. These are like freaks in a freak show. You know, I mean, they're old. They're old.
Oh, there we go.
Look how big Carter's shoes are.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah. But anyway, everybody.
But probably in real life, the Carters are huge compared to Biden and his old lady.
I
It's
have
probably an illusion.
no, but I mean, they're old too. She's 93 and he's 96, I think.
Biden,
What are you
Biden's
laughing
coming out with
about?
a new movie, Honey.
This picture is cracking me up.
You can see it now.
Biden's gonna come out with a new movie.
Yeah.
Honey, I Shrunk the Carters.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But boy, you just saw it. I see, because I didn't.
Yeah,
have
I've never
it.
seen it before. That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
But you know what? The Carters have done more for mankind than all the politicians put together, so they can all fuck off.
Well,
I would agree with you there. They've done a lot.
Thank
of
you.
good.
they've done a really nice.
Absolutely.
They're decent people. You know,
Yes.
they're decent human beings, which is more than we can say for. Are you even seeing what's happening with what's her name? The vice president's daughter,
Cheney.
Cheney's daughter.
Yeah.
Boy, my mind's a blank here. Dick Cheney's daughter. What's her first name?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
Liz.
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 Liz Cheney. She simply, all she's done is she felt that the president was responsible for the actions of that crowd on the 6th of January. And she's been saying that. And she's saying that
and
he
the
and then he
action
didn't
was
do
legit.
anything to try and stop it. Okay, he didn't get out there fast enough to stop it. Well, the Republicans are having a hissy fit. You know, she's the third in leadership in the party. They're going to throw her out of that leadership in the party because they don't want her as part of the party, because she doesn't go along with the fact that, it was a rigged election. I mean, come on, aren't people in the Republican Party allowed to have a mind of their own and not to be penalized for it?
This has got to be the first time I've ever seen you, Alex, back a Republican.
Well, I think that she's a decent.
I agree with you.
I think she's a decent Republican in this respect. She's a true conservative, okay, who believes in right and wrong. And she sees this as something wrong. It has nothing to do with politics, but it does have to do with her politics as a conservative, because she doesn't believe that such actions are warranted.
I agree with you.
Okay?
Do you remember? Remember Mitch McConnell said the same thing in a speech after the next day? He said exactly
yes,
the same
basically,
thing.
and now he's backtracked a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
And Romney's getting lambasted too.
My question is, what? Here we go. We haven't said the Trump word in years here on the show. What does Trump have on these people?
He's got
You know
some
what?
tapes.
I know.
What do you know?
There is a large segment of the American population that are cheats. They believe in getting ahead by cheating, and Trump is their guy. That's the kind of guy they wish to be.
He's the cheater in chief.
It's a minority.
Yeah.
The scary thing is, the Republicans have got the government system rigged to where the minority is going to gain power, and the majority of Americans like what Biden is doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how can the Republicans gain power?
Well, look, all Biden is really doing is trying to level the playing field. In other words, hey, the rich are rich. They should be happy with that. If we take a little bit from them, they're not going to miss it. Okay? Meanwhile, we got to level the playing field and allow people who are the have-nots to at least have a little more of an investment in this society. You know? Yes.
No, the scariest thing about the whole Trump thing was all the evangelical Christians. I was like, holy shit. Well, of course, if you believe in all that bullshit, why wouldn't you believe in him?
Well, you can do anything you want when you've got money. You can touch him on the pussy. I don't want to hear that. Don't want to hear that. Don't want to hear that. He's okay. It's good by me. He loves the church.
Bunch of shit.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, because my dad and I were talking about how we were talking about cults, and I said, man,
that's
these
a cult.
people must be
It's a cult.
off the deep end, or so desperate for someone to guide them. They're the same people that fell for Trump.
Alan has his hand up. Yes, Alan.
It's okay. Finally, somebody on the side text put something funny, talking about the Carters. They had to fish Rosalind out of the seat cushions.
Poor thing.
Really? That's funny. This person's usually an Alan hater, but that's okay. It was funny.
Mm-hmm. Who is that? Oh, that's John Redshaw.
Yeah.
Alan.
Yeah.
These are a bunch of people that lurk about on the chat room, and they never call the show. Never.
Who is this Jack person?
Jack?
Who's
American
against
Patriot.
Alan?
Who's against Alan?
Who has issues with Alan?
Every one of those guys has something.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. John Redshaw.
Whatever happened to the penis bagel guy?
The what? The penis bagel?
Penis
I used to have a guy.
Call.
I used to have a guy in San Francisco. Used to call my show. I would take calls, and I would. And I didn't. It wasn't really a call-in show because people would call and I talked to them for 2 seconds. And I go to the next call, right? But he would call and he would get in at least once every morning and go, penis bagel, penis bagel, penis bagel. And for the life of me, for years he did this every other morning or so. Penis bagel, penis bagel, penis bagel. And I had to say, what the hell does that mean?
It's a slur on the Jews.
No, who could ever take two things separate and apart from each other, like a penis and a bagel, and put them together in one sentence. Penis bagel, penis bagel, penis bagel. I should have opened up a bagel shop called the Penis Bagel. I don't know.
Totally.
Yeah.
This is your show now.
I don't know why I remember that. I just do.
But anyway, the whole thing with Liz Cheney is just, it's terrible and it's horrible. And, you know, if I'm going to have a Republican, I want somebody who is a conservative and consistent in that belief. Okay? And she is consistent with her belief. All those other assholes, what's his name? The guy I can't stand. The guy who's going after her.
From Texas?
No.
Kevin McCarthy?
Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah.
McCarthy. He doesn't have any politics. He's not a conservative.
No.
He's just a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
He has no principles. Because if
He's
he
a
did,
political hack.
yeah, I mean, and he's the one going after Liz Cheney, and you're going, why? You know, all she's doing is saying, I'm a conservative, and I believe in conservative values. And what Trump did is not conservative and does not live up to conservative values. She's making a major mistake in thinking that Trump is a conservative, which he isn't. You know, he's a self-serving asshole, and that's about it.
Yep.
You know.
Well, whoever this guy is, what's his name, McCarthy, is probably projecting whatever he hates about himself. He is projecting upon her.
No, they want to put across the belief that Biden stole the election.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, he stole it. He got more people to vote for him than voted for Trump. But yeah, exactly. So I don't know. That really bothers me. Now, by the way, they have a big problem in South Carolina. Have you heard about this problem? Let me bring it up to you. So that I have another story here too, but another story for you. South Carolina has a real problem, and they just voted to do away with it. They can't lay their hands on the chemicals needed for a lethal injection. So they passed a law down there that the people, if they can't get the lethal injection juice, the people have a choice between electrocution or firing squad.
Firing squad.
You know, I wish I had the problem that people in South Carolina have. God, that's a real problem. Why don't you just, I got an idea, do away with the death penalty altogether, and then you wouldn't have to worry about where you're going to get the juice for the executions, you know?
Put them in general population.
Now, the big story of the day, and the one that everybody's going batshit over, at least over at the Republican Party, is Facebook upholding their suspension of Donald Trump from their platform. Now, I have a lot of problems with Facebook, not the least of which is I can't stand them. But nevertheless, they decided that they kicked the can down the road. They said, "Well, look at this again in 6 months." Like Trump's going to change in 6 months, you know. And what they took him off for was what happened the day of the attacking of the Capitol, in which he was putting stuff on Facebook that just clearly incited the problem, and they didn't want to be part of that, so they suspended him. And they've upheld the suspension now for another 6 months. Well, people come along and they go, "Oh, well, that's undemocratic." Whoever said Facebook was democratic? Facebook is a goddamn business, you know. And it's like if I have a store and I don't want you to come in not wearing shorts, then I can say no shorts, you know, no lunch or whatever. And I can say that, and because I own the place, I have the right to do that. Facebook has a right to say, you didn't abide by our rules, goodbye. Now, maybe they do it to me, and I don't like it. But it's their store. There's nothing about being freedom of speech or democracy, or you're going against, what are they, am I right? Are they going against anything by doing this?
I don't know. It's pretty complicated, but I'm glad they didn't let him back on. I don't think he should be let on because he's too dangerous. You know, I mean, that's like like yelling fire in a theater. What he is.
Well,
Everything he says, all his lies and shit.
You know, the only trouble is it's freedom of speech. And,
Exactly.
but
I know.
it isn't freedom.
and
of,
I disagree. If they want to leave them off, leave them off. If they want to put them back on, that's up to them. It's their business.
Yeah, what I'm saying is it's their business. It's not a matter of freedom of speech. You know, I mean,
There's plenty of other people who are willing to listen to Trump.
yeah, but he has. You know,
Absolutely.
the thing is, it's driving him nuts because he has no outlet. You know, he puts out these.
Oh,
He can go
poor
on
thing.
Fox.
He
He can make his own website.
he can make his own website.
Yeah,
Can't
you know.
afford it.
He has his website that he puts stuff on. That's what he was.
That's right.
I
The
don't think he
real
has. I don't
Donald
think he
Trump
has a.
dot
I don't
com.
think he has a website.
Yeah,
It does he?
It's
Yeah,
bullshit.
they showed that he was talking about it on there on CNN.
Really? You know the pillow guy's got his own website,
Of course.
but it keeps going down on him.
How about I show you my Alex? You were talking about.
No, I mean literally keeps going down on him.
Like Trump.
Yeah, I got it.
Can everybody see this? This is my washer dryer.
Nice.
Nice.
This is
I love it.
My sense of humor. I thought Ray would enjoy my washer
Yeah,
dryer.
It took
I
me.
love
Do you
it.
fix washer dryers for a living?
I did for a few years. I worked for a
Oh,
real small
okay.
company. Nobody's heard of them, General Electric. And I worked on
Went out of
appliances,
business.
heating and air conditioning. I've done a lot of things. Not
So
only
you were the
top.
Maytag repairman who had nothing to do.
I had plenty to
Now,
do.
let me ask
I know.
Trucker Steve something.
I'm too fat. to
Let me
work
ask
on
Trucker
it now.
Steve something because I had this discussion with Phil last night, and I wish I had brought this up, but Kravitz brought it up tonight. When Phil has the desire to always say to me, "Oh, we're the freest country in the world,"
Oh, God, we gotta-
and I had to inform him that there are a lot of countries that are just as free as this one, if not more so.
We are not.
Yep.
And then Kravitz mentioned tonight, well, how about Canada? Canada's, do the Canadians look at themselves as being more democratic than the Americans?
I doubt it.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
They
I think so.
are.
You know, I mean, they really are,
Well, they didn't have Donald
Absolutely.
Trump.
you know.
Oh my God. When I go to Europe, when I've been to France and England, I feel way freer there. And then there's like more equality, and I'm sorry, but that's just way off base.
This whole idea, you know, I told...
Not in France.
I mentioned this to Kravitz tonight, and I'll mention it again here because it's worth repeating,
I think-
is that I used to say all the time in interviews that I felt that we lived in an illusionary democracy. We like to think we're a democracy, but we don't practice democracy. If we practice democracy, you know, we wouldn't have had something like, you know, the Red Scare back in the 50s where they were holding the House Un-American Activities Subcommittee hearings, which were totally undemocratic and lacked any kind of freedom of speech or freedom of belief or freedom of politics. So we've always thought of ourselves as being democratic, but it's really an illusionary democracy. It doesn't
Oh, it
really
is. I mean, we're
exist.
canceling. If someone says something wrong, everybody's getting canceled. I mean, it is beyond pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't cancel Trump quick enough.
Well, they won't. I mean, it's amazing this guy still has a voice and still has importance at all.
He once said he thought he was the next coming of Christ, and I think this guy's like Hitler.
I agree.
I mean, it's pretty sad when,
Very
people
scary.
like me are looking at properties in other countries so I can split my time.
If I wasn't as old as I am, which is damn fucking old,
Yes.
but if I wasn't as old as I am, I would pick Marjorie up and get the hell out of this country. I would have done it
Yep.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
But you know, at my age, it's just not something you think about doing. You know, but if I were younger, if I were in my 50s or maybe in my 40s, I'd be doing it in
Yep.
a heartbeat.
At our age, none of us can do that right now. I don't think.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe
we can.
Brian.
Well, I think what it is for somebody
He's a
our
youngster.
age, it's a lot of work. Like, how old are you now, Kathleen?
56.
56. So she's still
But
in
the
that
good
area.
thing is I have the money.
Yeah, and you could do it. You could
Absolutely.
do it. Yeah. Yeah.
We're probably going to move to France.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
Yeah. My wife is French.
Oh,
Okay.
well, they don't
My
like
kids are French.
Italians there.
Yeah. Do you know?
I love it there.
Do you know that if you're Italian, not Italian American, your parents were born here, you were born here, but your parents were Italian, okay,
right,
and came from Italy. Do you know you automatically have Italian citizenship?
I know, it's really easy. I know I can get it. I know.
You can buy
I just
property
have to
there.
do the paperwork. Yeah.
Oh, you have Italian blood in you? Well, Renati.
Yeah, I'm all Italian. I mean, my family's all. My grandparents are from Italy.
Well, then
I can move to Italy anytime I want.
You could just go to Italy right now, and they will.
Yeah, I know.
You can buy a house there. You can become a citizen there. You just
You can be an actor there. You can work there as an actor.
I know. I could work
Yeah,
there.
I mean, what do you want to go to France for? The only thing you could do there is be a mime.
I'd rather go to Italy or England, but
Yeah.
my wife is from France.
The
so
only reason
don't
I
know.
never moved to a foreign country in the past was because of my job. I'd have to learn a whole different language in order to just do my job, and I'd never be able to learn it well enough to be able to do my job. So.
And my grandparents also are from Italy.
Yeah, France is so easy.
They're from Italy?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
from Lucca, Italy. I was there a few years ago. Went down to where.
Well, Neri.
Hey, half my family is from Lucca also.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's beautiful. Fortress.
Probably the
City,
same
really
mobsters.
nice, you know.
Well,
I love Lucca. It's a walled city. It's so cool.
Yeah. Fortress City, yeah, very beautiful. Ride the bikes around the wall, on the wall.
Yeah.
actual
Yeah, I
wall.
did that.
Well, the great thing about Italy is that even the gas stations have great food.
Oh, it's so awesome. The coffee in the gas station.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Drive on the freeway. So I went to work in Sweden for a couple weeks, and then I flew down from there to Milan and got a rental car by myself.
Yeah.
I drove to Venice, and I drove down through Bologna and Florentine down to Lucca. Stayed the night in the Lucca Hills, and then stayed there for the day, and then went down to Rome. And every time you're driving, you pull over. And people at the gas station, they're at the bar. They're at the cappuccino bar. They're gone, and then take off for their next.
It's the best coffee in the world. There's no coffee. I have never been in a country where the coffee is that good.
Yeah.
In Italy.
Yeah, well,
amazing.
I said to Marjorie, I found that if I pull into a gas station and they're serving food there, I can get great food at a gas station. And she says, I don't believe it. So we stopped at one of these gas stations where they have a restaurant over the highway.
Over the freeway,
Over the freeway. Took her in there. I said, go ahead. Get some prosciutto. Go ahead. Get some tiramisu. Get this, get that.
Wow.
She went, this is incredible. And I said, think of what it's like if we went to a real restaurant.
Yep.
I mean,
so damn good.
Yeah, very good.
Oh, yeah.
And the highways are amazing. Like people don't even fly. They just get in their freaking badass sedans.
Yeah, but if you ever
100 miles an hour, they just fly.
Okay. Kathleen only once in her life tried to kill me or thought about killing me. And do you remember where it was?
Italy?
A traffic jam in Italy.
Yes. It was an olive oil spill, remember?
Something. Well, that was the joke we were pulling.
That's
It was
the
an
joke was. But remember, there was a wedding party in front of us.
or something. But anyway, all of a sudden we're driving down the road, and all of a sudden, beep, that's
Yep.
it. And it's going through. We got out of the car and just walked up and down the row of people.
Totally.
There was nothing else you could do. I still have video of it. And it was the one time that she almost killed. I think we got into some kind of horrendous fight because we were so frustrated about this.
Yep.
So never get yourself in an Italian car pile.
Well, that's sensible.
I have been in an Italian traffic jam, and it is horrible.
It's horrendous.
I mean, you're there for hours,
And
not
the freeways,
moving.
Yeah, and the freeways are beautiful because you pay tolls, right? When you get on, you take a ticket. When you get off, you got to pay.
Yeah.
And they keep
Yeah.
those up, and when you're driving through the hills and stuff, you just see castle after castle. Now they're all wineries up on top of the
Yeah.
hills, just nonstop.
But once
and
they,
then you come back to 880 North, and there's freaking mattresses on the freeway. Papers flying around. It's like, what the hell?
Where's
Alex,
it?
Remember where they filmed Dirty Rotten Scoundrels?
Yeah, we went to there. We were there.
Oh
yeah.
my God! Remember we stayed in that place and some Russian
Well,
guy.
the name of the town in the movie was Bouillère-sur-Mer, but
Yes.
the town, I'm trying to remember the name of it now, but it was there. Yeah.
And once this guy found out that we were from San Francisco, we went from the bottom floor up to the third floor.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
in a 2-story building.
No, it was a 3-story, and every morning they'd come.
Well, I'll
open
give you.
up the windows, bring
I'll
all
tell
our
you
food in. It was beautiful.
One quick hint that I got from my tour person, the person who arranged the tour that we took, is she said, have her wear a wedding ring.
Yes.
And then they wrote ahead to all these places we were going to stay and said they're newlyweds.
Oh, wow.
And so we were always upgraded to like a wedding
Totally.
suite or a better room for the same
Yep.
price. And
I
we
don't
were
understand.
I remember we were, we
I
had,
wore a solitaire the whole time we were there. We had
there was champagne waiting for us in the
Yes.
room. So
Yes.
remember, if you're ever going with another
robes,
person,
decadent stuff.
just
it was beautiful.
tell them, we've just been married. Have you got a decent room for us? Yes, Alan.
I gotta remember that one.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Yes.
The Italian people are just amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, Alan.
So all the great stories you and Kathleen have together, why didn't you guys get married?
Because we
Sound
can't.
like the perfect
Because we can't
couple.
stand each other.
You know what? I ended up. He was the male version of me, and I was the female version.
Yeah, we were great
of him.
pals. We were great buds. I mean,
Totally.
you know.
He
I
was my
understand that.
ride or die if anyone ever. And I mean, his girlfriends hated me
I'll bet.
because he'd go out with them, but when it came to all the holidays, who was he with?
You.
Me.
Yeah, but I mean, she was just you were my pal.
I loved you because of you, not because you were Alex Bennett. I loved.
Well, that's
Bennett
too bad
Gordon
because there was
Schwarzman.
nothing about Bennett Schwarzman to love. So I have no idea how you managed that one. But anyway, it wasn't marriage stuff. It was just
It
pals.
just
Yeah.
sounds that way. You guys have had such a great time together.
I just never male bonded, and she was the
No.
closest thing I had to male bonding.
Yeah,
We
we were evil.
Huh?
He still
We
is.
were
huh?
evil,
We were evil. Yeah.
but we had fun.
But then it's on to other things, and
Yeah.
Some girl in a restaurant's looking at Alex, and you turn to her, Kathleen, and say, "What the hell are you looking at?"
yeah.
No,
Right.
Alex, when he got the phone call from Howard Stern,
Yeah.
he hangs up, and I knew what was going on because I knew what had happened
What?
between he and Howard, and I said, "Karma's a bitch." Well, Karma was a bitch.
What do you mean?
With Howard. Howard called you, and you're on the phone with him, and
Howard
you hung up,
Stern.
and you go, "Hey, Kath,
No,
Howard
I-
just offered me
No.
Sirius Satellite. What do you think?" And I said, "Go for it."
Well, no.
Moved to New York.
You got it all wrong. It never happened. No.
Yes, it did.
I was there. I was at Sirius XM before Howard ever got there.
Really?
Yes. So you're thinking of something else. don't know
Well, I
what.
could have swore he called you and said, "Hey,
No,
because what
no.
was going on in San Francisco?"
No, he never called me. I never met Howard till he walked into my studio when I was at Sirius
No
XM.
shit.
Yeah.
You should have shot
Hey,
him.
listen, I gotta go.
Okay.
It's a time to say goodbye. Goodbye, Jeff. Nice seeing you, Alan.
Bye.
Where are you tonight? Where are you tonight, Trucker Steve?
Wells, Nevada.
Wells, Nevada. Weren't you there last time? Maybe this is going back.
Well,
Anyway,
the cowboy poetry town.
yes, thank you,
Yes.
John. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you,
Guys,
Rudy. Thank you,
Yeah.
Ray, and thank you to Brian Neary and all of you. Just give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye and get out of here fast so Jack can do his show, okay? There they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's our citizen panel for tonight. Yeah, that was fun tonight. I had a good time. I hope you did too. Jack Bishop is next. He's here with the intersection. He'll be taking your calls on Skype at GabNet Live. I'll see you again tomorrow night. Same 10:30. Yeah, 10:30 Eastern Daylight Time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her. I really do. And also, please wear a mask, get your vaccination, and be safe out there. Good night, everybody.